to an Eagles repeat? That's funny.
Well, it is their attitude. Like, the defense has to remain elite. Last year, they went from one of the worst in the league to one of the best under Vic Fangio. So they have to continue, and I think they will because they have a lot of young guys that are going to get better. But really, it's the attitude. It's keeping the team goals front and center.
Correct.
And look, I've said it, and I don't really get mad at receivers for this. A.J. Brown has his Super Bowl ring.
Yep.
Right?
It's 40 diamonds for the 40 points they scored against. Jeez, it's beautiful.
He's got his money. I got to be honest, I want to win, of course. I want to win a Super Bowl.
Want to make the
But
Hall
if
of
I'm
Fame.
A.J. Brown, yeah, I want to put up numbers. I'm one of the best receivers in the league. I want numbers. And Devontae Smith, same thing to a lesser degree. He's a different personality, but I'm sure inside he wants his big numbers too. So, what?
I don't know. I saw he's got a whole championship ring case. He's got an Alabama ring. He's got. I don't know where he got all the rings from.
It's different for in most positions. Quarterback is the one we measure by rings. Receiver, Randy Moss doesn't have a ring. Does anybody knock him for that? No. And he was on one of the greatest teams ever and didn't get it done. So that's the thing. If A.J. Brown and because of him, Devontae Smith goes along and they start chirping that we want to throw the ball more, I should be one of the best statistical receivers in the league, that's when things could get a little
so I kind of disagree with you because I actually think the offense, in order for them to repeat, I actually think the offense will have to be better because I don't think it is likely that they were basically best, second best, or third best defense in everything last year. You know what I mean? They were, you look at it, it's first, second, third. And I agree with you, Brew. Jalen Carter is a great player. He's young. And the two rookies from last year, one of whom had the pick six in the Super Bowl, and he's probably the lesser of the two rookies, in Cooper DeJean. Those guys are going to be, better than they were last year and, and really impactful. They lost a ton of personnel on defense. You know what I mean? They lost, I can't even name all, but Milton Williams, multiple guys in the secondary. I know they kept Bond, the linebacker that was, a great pickup by Fangio. But my point is this. I think with the tougher schedule, them having the second biggest bullseye on their back of every team in the league, I still think the biggest is kind of Kansas City, actually.
You think so?
Yeah, I think Kansas City is still the team.
They still have the mystique.
Yeah, the mystique that other team,
I wonder if Philly beats the Chiefs week 2, if that
then maybe maybe.
Okay, we've already talked about that. That was already a segment last week. Guys, everyone is going after the Philadelphia Eagles because everyone thinks that they're better than the Philadelphia Eagles, okay? So they have a massive bullseye. You know what's so hilarious about the Philadelphia Eagles? They both simultaneously have an absolute stacked roster that any quarterback and any player and any coach would have been able to win with, but then yet also the Lions think they're better, the Ravens think they're better, the Bills think they're better, the Commanders think they're better, the Chiefs think they're better. It's like, well, which is it? Was this one of the greatest assembled teams ever, or like what's the story here? I mean, like, that's all I heard after this. Like, you got Dak Prescott saying chuck the record. I mean, like, seriously, you got teams that didn't even make the playoffs say that they're better than the Philadelphia Eagles. So everybody wants to prove it. Everybody. So, we can stop with that. We can stop pretending like the Eagles don't have a massive target on their back. And then, gosh, this projection with A.J. Brown and Devontae. Devontae was literally in tears to Jalen Hurts. Was in tears and was just like so overwhelmed with the experience of winning the Super Bowl. That's what Devontae's been. Devontae, one of the best personalities that we could ever see at the wide receiver position, okay? You want to act like now he's gonna cause problems in the locker room? Devontae Smith, like, do you know how insane you sound? Like, it's just so crazy. Devontae is the definition of a team player. I'll give you even A.J. Brown. I'll give you that to a degree. But you're gonna throw in Devontae now? Oh my gosh. I love how every other team but the Eagles can have some sort of sustained greatness. Like I love how the defense has to be worse and the offense has to be better. Like I love how for these other teams, they all can stay the same or even get better. But for the Philadelphia Eagles, it's not possible. Like I just find comically hilarious at this point. The reality is, and this is definitely not the most popular view, and I talked about this months ago, like before the draft, after the draft, and it's actually aged perfectly because, the Philadelphia Eagles head coach Nick Sirianni echoed exactly what I said. And he said himself, he's not focused on repeating, he's focused on sustained excellence, I think is how he phrased it. He said sustained success is what it was. And I'd say for me, I kept saying, throughout this offseason for the Philadelphia Eagles, it's not about repeating. It's not about going back to back. The way how this roster is constructed, the way how the Philadelphia Eagles operate, is you're not going to make decisions to try to stack the deck in your favor to maximize your odds to repeat, rather than you're looking at how do we continue to build a great team that now gives us sustained success over these next 2-3 years. The real goal from the way how I look at things is the Philadelphia Eagles, considering their roster, considering the youth and the players who are getting older, right? AJ Brown, Saquon Barkley, like they're closer to that age than you would want them to technically, right? Like they're not 23, 24. So it's like they're getting up there. Again, I'm not saying they're old, I'm not saying past their prime, but you're looking at it where it's like it's another like 2 to 3 year window. I'm looking at it where it's like the objective for the Philadelphia Eagles is to win another Super Bowl within the next 2 years. To me, it does not have to be a repeat. I've been so firm on that. I was like that with the Kansas City Chiefs when they were going for a three-peat. I said, I'm looking at it like if I'm a Patrick Mahomes or Andy or just even a Chiefs fan, I'm looking at it like it through the lens of it's just like, all right, I want a three-peat. That would be great. But really, if we lose, but then we win again the next year, or we lose these next 2 years, but then 2 years later we win another 2 Super Bowls, totally fine with that. And that's how you kind of have to look at it. It's why Howie Roseman did not bet the farm and try to do everything he could and maximize everything he could. It's just for 2025. It's how do I set myself up to create another great roster over these next couple of years that ensures that we can get another Super Bowl. So, the biggest key to Philly repeating is it's a different conversation, honestly. Because so much about repeating also is what are the teams around you look like now? I think right now this might be one of the best. This might be one of the best seasons of overall team quality than we've had in a really, really, really long time. As far as I personally can remember. I'm not going to pretend like I was as locked into the NFL in like 2010, but like I don't see any truly easy, games where you're just like these are just trash teams. Like I don't see that right now. I see a lot of even just good coaches spread throughout the NFL, and I see a lot of good quarterbacks. And so much about repeating and keep getting to the NFC Championship game and the Super Bowl and all that is being able to take advantage of an inferior division, inferior teams around you. And I don't know if that's 100% there. People talk about, the last 2 teams that were able to repeat, it was really just Tom Brady and Patrick Mahomes. And yet Russell Wilson theoretically should have done it. That was pretty lucky, pretty unlucky that it didn't happen. But even if we just go with that story, Tom Brady and Patrick Mahomes, it's like, what do they have in common? They both had an absolute awful division to just feast on and ensure that they were getting first round buys, home field advantage, and boom, there you go. And taking advantage of other teams that clearly have inferior coaching inferior quarterback, but whatever it may be. And right now, and there was no other great team necessarily that they had to play on the other side, of the conference. Here, that's not necessarily the case. The Philadelphia Eagles, I do think the Washington Commanders are going to be a really good team. Listen, I'm not going to pretend like I think the Dallas Cowboys and the New York Giants are this unbelievable team, but they're certainly not who the New York Jets have been to the Buffalo Bills. They're certainly not who the Las Vegas Raiders and who the Broncos and the Chargers had been to the Chiefs. So that's different now. And when they are in the playoffs, you do have to go up against Stafford and McVay. You do have to go up against Detroit, the Detroit Lions, which have an awesome roster. And if you do survive the NFC, you will have to go up against Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson. You're talking about all-time great quarterbacks. This is not an easy feat. When Patrick Mahomes got the opportunity to repeat, it was he's going up against Brock Purdy, or he's going up against Jimmy Garoppolo. He's going up against these situations where it's oh, okay. Trying to think who the Patriots repeated against. It was against the Eagles and the Panthers, with Donovan McNabb throwing up in the huddle, and for the Panthers, a quarterback that nobody will ever, they won't even remember how to even say his name. Jake Delham, Jake Delham, Jake Delhomme, that's the difference. And they were able to go 8-0 at home both years. So it's just a lot of it has to do with your greatness, but also the landscape of the NFL as a whole. Honestly, yeah. So some the ability to repeat or anything of that nature, it comes down to just more factors, more variables out of control than people really want to. More variables than anyone really wants to, admit, because it's. Everybody likes to think that they're in control of that destiny. So, yeah, I really wholeheartedly agree with Nick Sirianni. It's all about building a team and a culture built upon sustained success, rather than anything else. But I think with all that said, it's just obviously I think the Eagles are in a great position to actually repeat and still continue to be great. I don't see why that defense is suddenly not going to be great. I don't see why suddenly that offense is not going to be great. And then the rest is just, the rest just ends up being, however the football gods want this season to go, that's the way it's going to go. But we can invent stuff saying all the receivers, they're going to want the ball more. They're going to want this. They're going to want that. And it's just you just keep making stuff up. And I just, again, I love how these other teams can bring in these other pieces and make them work, like the Kansas City Chiefs, but somehow the Philadelphia Eagles, who bring players that don't necessarily work in other places, Swift, CJ Gardner-Johnson, Saquon Barkley, Mekhi Becton, Bond, and yet here we are. And we want to just kind of act like the pieces that the Philadelphia Eagles have won't fill this, and that they haven't built a culture of sustained, they already have this culture of sustained success, of winning a lot. People know that when you go to Philly, there is a real chance at winning a ring that opens up and has wings. Everybody knows what's at stake here. Nobody has to guess. Nobody has to be sold, okay? You talk about some of these wide receivers, even in a situation where A.J. Brown wants the ball more, he's upset with stats, he will have zero support in the locker room. You could make the argument that you could have more support in the locker room if they didn't win the Super Bowl, because he could be like, this is what we need to win the Super Bowl. And it's bro, we won the Super Bowl. And guess what? In that Super Bowl, in the NFC Championship game, in this, in these games, you were utilized You got the glory. You got the greatness. Or are you trying to tell us all in this locker room? You're trying to tell all the players, the practice squad, the coaching staff, that you're bigger than that? Like, you'll get no support. It's a lot easier if you didn't win yet to be like, come on, guys, like, this is what we need to do. We're not going to win any other way. This is what we got to do. And it's like, they've proven they know how to win. Jalen Hurts has proven that he knows how to elevate and step up in the biggest moments. So, make no mistake about it. You want to know what the biggest key is to Philly repeating? Is the OC being a great hire. That right now to me is the biggest key. Can he make this offense even better? Can he make Jalen Hurts even better? Can he do the things like I talk about, like with Patrick Mahomes, with these the easy screen game and some of these easy passes behind the line of scrimmage, helping him take care of giving some options when he is dealing with blitzes and pressure and whatnot. Giving him some easy outs, minimizing sacks. That's what I'm excited to see. That's what I'm excited to see. To actually see less 3rd and 1s, less 4th and 1s, doing the tush-push less because you're converting these downs on 2nd and 3rd, 3rd and 4, 2nd and 3, 2nd and 8, and you're converting them more regularly. You have a higher success rate. So you're actually doing something like the tush-push even less. That's what I'm excited to find out. To me, that's a bigger key than trying to figure out, like, I don't know about this roster. So they had a stacked roster last year, even though you didn't believe in the roster last year. And now that roster has gotten worse. Like, it's just, that's why I just smile, because I'm just like, I can't keep up then with the narratives. I seriously, truly can't. It's just crazy. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about the Philadelphia Eagles? What do you think the biggest key is to Philly repeating? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment. So whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing, as we are building an amazing community here, and I absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to. Something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're all on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.